Welcome back to Hot Take. I am here with Callan from Coppish. How are you, bruv?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
I cannot. We served up a treat. We were served up a treat in the Champions League last night, and
brilliant games.
It was. I will say, it's not a dig at Liverpool. It has been a poor Premier League season, and when I say poor, right, we're going in straight away. Hit the like button, people. Get out the cups of tea. Get your popcorn out. When I say poor, I'm talking from an entertainment perspective. And I just mean, like, this season, I think Liverpool have gone on some great unbeaten runs, great winning streaks. Arsenal haven't won more than 3 games on the bounce. United haven't won more than 1 game on the bounce. I think City have only won more than 2 on the bounce twice or something. Chelsea have only done it once, twice maybe. There hasn't been... Like, knockout football is different. You get the drama on the night. I think in league football, you kind of need 3, 4, 5 teams going on good runs. Newcastle were on a really good run now, as an example, for the top 4 race. But you kind of, we haven't had that all year. I just don't think we've had the excitement, if that makes sense, and the closeness of games and the who's going to finish here, what's going to happen. It's just a bit drab.
Would you not argue, though, that the league isn't poor? It's just that there's more teams now than yesteryear that are actually closer in parity to each other.
I think that's a really good argument. So when I say poor, I'm not necessarily saying the quality has been poor, because I think Bournemouth, Brighton, Newcastle, Villa, Nottingham Forest, I think they've been excellent this year and they've added great value.
Fulham as well.
Fulham, yes. But even when you look at those teams and you go through their winning streaks, I feel like what makes the league, I'm talking about the league being exciting as a spectacle rather than teams being good. And I think what I mean by that is Newcastle on a really good run now and had a really good run around December time. But teams, it would be like, okay, there's a win. And then it's like lose, draw, win, draw, win, lose, win. There's not been enough for me. And especially as maybe I'm biased because I cover the traditional top 6. Those teams haven't gone on good runs. So you don't feel the fans haven't picked up any excitement. We all like it when, Spurs went on a 7-game winning streak. If Man United did it, there'd be different conversations. So I just feel it's not even been the football on the pitch. I think it's been the discourse, the disconnect with fans. The whole thing has just been a letdown in comparison to the Champions League. But I don't mean it in any disrespect to Liverpool's quality. The amount of points you're going to accumulate could have won titles in multiple seasons.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say, because when you speak about winning runs and teams, etc. Like if you look at our points total currently and compare it to last season, I think this time last season we were on 71 points. Now we're on 76 points. So even if you replace our points tally with what it is now and put it last season, we'd still be top of the league. Now, granted, Man City and Arsenal would be closer to us, but we'd still be top of the league and with a few points to spare. But what I will say is, in response to the first thing you said in terms of teams putting runs together and stuff in title race, last season I'd say is probably one of the most exciting title races, because we were there, then we fell off, and then Arsenal were there, then they dropped points to Villa, and then Man City took over towards the end. But in the seasons where it's just Liverpool, Man City, I'd arguably say apart from those 2 teams, the rest of the league was poor, because those 2 teams are so far out in front.
It's a great,
didn't even do anything.
Great point. This season to last season, maybe it's what I call the fine wine effect. And I'm coining that phrase. Do you drink wine?
No, I don't. I don't drink alcohol, innit?
Oh, do you not? Okay, fair enough. There we go.
I'll give it a couple of years with the kids.
Man, it's a good listen. I like a little drink. But good on you. When you drink wine, when you're younger and you're not earning great money, you're drinking like Blossom Hill, $4.99 a bottle. And in reality, it's not very nice. But it's what you drink. It's fine. The problem is the fine wine effect is you have a good month at work. You go, do you know what? I'm going to treat myself to like a 40, 50 pound bottle of red, which isn't even the most expensive. But you drink that and you go, that was beautiful. Following week, you ain't got the money to spend 40, 50 pound on bottles of wine because, you can't do that, working class. So you go back to your Blossom Hill and you go, oh my God, it's like vinegar. And you notice the difference. And I just feel this season has been the fine wine effect. Last season's sort of title race was so epic. There was 3 teams in it. There was 3 teams hyped up. The discourse amongst their fans, the rival fan input. Where this year, it's basically been one team have only really felt they can. And even Liverpool fans didn't really feel they could win it for a long time. And then Arsenal fell off, and it was like, oh, we basically won it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it would have just been nice if, for instance, Newcastle, the run they've been on the last 3 or 4 months, Newcastle would have been like this all season. If Arsenal were right up your backside right now, and everything else was the same, I still think it would be it would make it more entertaining, because I think the entertaining part of football that we often forget, it isn't just what goes on the pitch, it's the conversation afterwards. When you went to school, when you go to work, when you're with your boys, and I speak to a lot of my friends. Like we met on Friday. We nearly always spend at least half the evening talking about football.
Yeah.
10 minutes, and it was them asking me how the terrace was going. No one's talking about it. And I think that for me was like an indicator, like everyone switched off. But yeah, last night was amazing. More to come on the Champions League a little later. But viewers, first big hot take. He's the best passer of a ball I've ever seen play football. Jamie Carragher claims that KDB is the greatest passer of all time. What are you saying to this, Cal?
But I feel like every week Jamie Carragher says something that makes me go, why did I really support this guy when I was younger? Like Carragher and Gerrard used to be like my heroes growing up as Liverpool fan. Now, look, here's the thing. I'm a massive KDB fan. Always have been, always will be, regardless of who I support, because he's a phenomenal footballer. And he genuinely has been one of the best passers we've seen in the Premier League era. But for Carragher to say that, when he's played with Steven Gerrard, Xabi Alonso, David Beckham, never played with Trent, but has watched Trent play. Let's not forget Fabregas. Like, to just say De Bruyne is the best passer when I'd say De Bruyne's short-range passing is probably his best asset. His mid and long-range passing are both very good. But no one's sitting there telling me his long-range passing is better than Scholes, Beckham, Gerrard, even Trent, I'd say. Like, I can't, mid-range passing, I don't think his mid-range passing is better than Fabregas. I wouldn't even say he's better than Gerrard. I wouldn't say he's better than Scholes. Beckham never really got a chance to showcase it in the Premier League because he was playing right midfield. At PSG and AC Milan, he definitely showcased it. And when he played centrally for England, he showcased it.
Yeah, I think,
it's gone too far, man. It's this whole recency thing sometimes. Like, nostalgia and recency bias are the two biggest poisonous things to football at the moment.
I understand youngsters that don't remember. Listen, Gerrard's been gone a decade, right? Scholes 12 years. But the pomp, the peak of those players is 15 to 20 years ago. I don't think people realize about Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes had like 5, 6 years under his belt before Lampard and Gerrard even made their debuts. So that's how far the peak goes back.
Yeah.
The short range passing, as you mentioned, when you look at this, when I'm thinking short range, I'm talking when you're in the middle of the park, you're being pressed. And yes, youngsters, pressing existed long before 2018. Pressing has always existed. It just wasn't called pressing. It was called closing down.
Yeah.
It always existed. The way Paul Scholes, the way Alonso, the way Fabregas, when look at those three players, the way they could pass and move in small triangles, the way, I know he's not everyone's favorite person, but listen to what Joey Barton said on his podcast recently about Scholes, where he said that he went into a game against Scholes and he was like, I'm going to do him. He goes, I'm going to get him. I'm going to be on top of him. I'm going to ensure he ain't getting past me. It's when he was young. And people don't forget, when Joey Barton was a young player coming through, there's a lot of hype about how good he was going to be.
He was a good footballer.
And he said every time he got near Scholesy, he went passing wise, he just boom there, drop it off, drop it left, drop it right. He goes, I couldn't get near him. Every time. He went, then I stood off him a little bit, and he turned and knocked it 60 yards to the right and put somebody through on goal. And he went, and I'm just sitting there in awe going, I'm an idiot for thinking I could get anywhere near him. I'm not saying there's not going to be stories about that with KDB. That's an anecdotal story that should do is tempt you to go and watch. But for me, when it comes to attacking midfielders, I think all things being equal, I'd have KDB number one. Yeah. I really, really would. But if we're bringing this down purely to passing, I think Paul Scholes, I think Alonso, I think Steven Gerrard, I think Fabregas were marginally but I think they were better passers of the ball and had a great range and sort of dichotomy to their passing as an example. For me, what stands KDB out is his ability to drive with the ball. That for me is better than all the other guys. And not saying those guys couldn't do it.
I think Gerrard is better at driving the ball. So to cut you.
Fair. That's
fair.
One
person we sleep on with passing, Wayne Rooney.
Oh, mate.
Sleep on Wayne with his passing.
I was going to throw someone in, but it might lose credibility of the argument. I always think about Michael Carrick as well, but I'm very biased. When it comes to Michael Carrick.
One, though. He is though.
It's
his mid-range pass was
and this is the one thing I would say. If the mid-range passing of KDB was of that level, I think Man City would keep hold of him and say, well, we'll sit you in a little bit deeper.
Yes.
And people say physicality isn't there. Well, let's not pretend like Paul Scholes was Speedy Gonzalez, Gerrard, Speedy Gonzalez, Carrick, Speedy Gonzalez, Alonso, his peak wasn't. KDB's faster than Alonso now, but it was the mid-range passing ability of those individuals that enabled them to play as long as they did. It enabled them to. It's why, again, I wouldn't say he's a better passer overall, but like Ryan Giggs, it's why at 38 he could play in central midfield because his passing ability was so good and so high as an example. And I just think I'm not taking anything away from KDB because he is one of the greatest midfielders in Premier League history. I'm not playing him down. But I do think we're just talking passing. There have been better passers in the Premier League who I just don't want to. And I will say this to the younger generation. In 15, 20 years' time, you're going to be saying similar things about KDB when the next star is being lauded as the best passer ever. You're going to go, no, whoa. You're forgetting KDB.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's important. I don't think we can forget about the legends that have come before us, personally.
Yeah, agreed. It's a shame, man. Because again, I do think there's a balance because I think sometimes people go too far with nostalgia and they downplay today's players.
Yes.
But at the same time, like this whole recency bias, I've never heard anyone over the last 3 years say, oh, KDB is definitely the best passer in Premier League history. But because now he's leaving Man City, and rightly so, he's getting his flowers. But don't go too far with it. Think about what you say before you say it, especially as a pundit.
Do you think some of the recency bias is about... My theory is Sky Sports, TNT Sports, Talk Sport, they all pay millions and billions of pounds a year for the rights for the Premier League. I feel like they just have to hype it up. They keep putting up the title race fixtures between you and Arsenal. Football fans know it's done, right? And
it's been done since December.
It's almost this element of we've got to keep talking everything up like now is the best. Now is the best ever. And everything that came before it's poor. We've got to try and keep the interest on there. And I understand their methodology, but I think it actually loses people because I think the general fan sees through it and just we all saw the Henry stuff about Lenny Yoro the other night, what he was doing about the offside thing and the look, and there is some comedic element to it, but I'm just looking at it and thinking you're lying when you say you've never seen a centre-back look at the fucking lino. They do it after every goal.
I'm a Liverpool fan. I think he's the best centre-back in the world. Virgil does that often, you know.
I watch
every Liverpool game. Virgil does that when a player will get through. Virgil will look over at the line, put his hand up, and then he'll start chasing the player. And I think Virgil is easily the best centre back in the world at the moment. Virgil does it.
We do it as fans. Whenever your team concedes a goal, I know I do this. I've never asked anybody this question. My first thing is fuck. And then the next thing is, oh, please tell me there's something they can disallow it for.
Offside, or there's a
offside, or there was a foul or a handball. We all, and that's the one thing, even with VAR, because VAR gives you that hope. You sit there with VAR and you're like, please tell me they're making a check. So the fact we do it, why would I be surprised that players are not looking at refs, looking at linos? And even with that one, so a Man United fan called it out perfectly yesterday. They went, well, maybe he thought that Maz was fouled and he was looking at the referee and the linesman to see if anything was happening. But yeah, as I say, the punditry is crazy and the recency bias is the thing. But viewers, give us your thoughts and your opinions on that. The next isn't from the mainstream media. It's from DR Sport. This is from Alex Gilroy-Trott, who says, yes, he says,
he didn't say this.
He said, yeah, I mean, I'm just putting out the facts here. He said it. He said, and I quote, that Salah has gone past Henry's level. Remember the word there, level. He has now overtaken him in the Prem. That he has gone past Henry's level.
I love AGT. I love AGT, and big up to everyone at DR Sport as well. And look, I know I'm going to get killed by Liverpool fans, especially me sitting there wearing a Liverpool top. Salah's phenomenal. Salah sits at the table with Henry, Rooney, Gerrard, Lampard, Shearer, etc. He sits at that table now without shadow of a doubt. But there's always someone who sits at the head of the table, and with all due respect to Salah, he ain't surpassed Henry yet. I think again, this is a whole recency thing. Salah is phenomenal, and if you're just looking at a number standpoint, then yeah, cool. Salah's the best. Then it's just on a numbers. Salah's better than Henry, just by numbers. But I'll always say this, bro. Football eye test is subjective, and stats have to be contextualized. Now, granted, Salah's a winger putting up striker numbers. Henry played in a 4-4-2 where he had Dennis Bergkamp behind him. But as a footballer and what Henry did, Salah hasn't done. Now, granted, there are times where Salah's created and scored goals off his own back and done a madness. Henry had the Premier League in an absolute chokehold for about 3 years and no one could do anything about it. Henry's peak is like nothing I've ever seen in my life. That is not me saying Henry is 2, 3, 4 levels above Salah, but Salah hasn't surpassed Henry yet. If Salah does have another great season next season, I'm not even saying a season like this, but a great season next season, the conversation continues. But as of right now, as a Liverpool fan, as a biased Liverpool fan, I can't sit here and say Salah's passed Henry. I can't do it. I'd be lying to myself. I'd be lying to you. I'd be lying to people watching it. But if there is anyone who can surpass him as of now, it is Salah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I look at 4 things when it comes to judging footballers. I look at their ability, but that is what I would connect the word levels to. A levels thing to me is predominantly your ability. You've got, I suppose you could put your consistency and longevity and your stats into the levels as well. And then it's the trophies that you are integral in winning your club. And we had this conversation last night.
Can I push back? Can I push back on 2 of those?
Go on.
So ability, I put actually lower than the other 3 because I look at someone like
I do as well, by the way.
Okay, because I look at like a Quaresma, for example, and I think Quaresma is more naturally talented than Cristiano Ronaldo, but it's night and day who the better.
Yeah. No, I agree. So out of all 4, I probably have ability at the is the lower of the 4 as an example.
See, I've got trophies at the lowest because from an individual standpoint. So I'm trying to think I'll use Yosemite as an example. And again, loads of Liverpool fans probably only remember Yosemite. Yosemite's got a Champions League medal, and I don't know. I mean, he might have an FA Cup medal as well, but no one's going to remember Yosemite in years to come.
I agree.
And I look at Salah and I think, okay, if you put Salah in an Arsenal team instead of Ljungberg, for example, do Arsenal win the same amount of trophies or more? I think they win more. Same with if you put Henry in Liverpool's team with Salah. We win more trophies.
That's where I view the trophy element. So I view the trophy element different. So what I mean by that is, we used this example last night in a match reaction. Donnarumma was the reason in the end that PSG went through. Yeah. Those saves were out of this world. So say he does the second leg as well, and against you, say he does that again. Let's say he does okay in the semis, and then the final has another game like it, and PSG win that Champions League. When I say I include trophies, I am talking about the performances that led to those trophies. So that is what I'm focused on. So if you're on the bench and you don't kick a ball in barely any of the games, like what's his name? Ramos has been on the bench for most of these knockout games for PSG. He's barely come on. He hasn't kicked a ball and so far hasn't scored. Him having a Champions League medal, that medal is irrelevant in terms of his legacy for me. Yeah. But say Donnarumma continues his performances, Donnarumma's legacy as a goalkeeper is enhanced by the trophy that he was integral in winning. Fair. So I actually agree with your trophy take. I just want to explain how I view it. So for instance, for me, I kind of have trophies as either third or second on my ability. Then I look at kind of consistency and longevity and trophies, but they're kind of they kind of coincide with each other because if you're consistently brilliant and you do it over a 7-8 year period and your performances continually win you trophies, that's the body of your kind of work. And then that's kind of the top part for me. Stats comes underneath that because stats, as you say, have to be contextualized, and you have to kind of look at the goals that Harry Kane scored. For me, so far in his career, they're more than what Drogba did, but I think Drogba's goals were far more important. So the stats, that's what I mean. So I go with ability, stats, and then I look at the consistency, longevity, and your impact on winning trophies as the next bit. So I agree with you. I don't think Henry is levels and levels and levels above Mo Salah. I think they're very, very close. I would say on the ability element and the peak, and maybe the peak they got to, Henry shines in that area. Statistically, it's pretty much the same in terms of goals and assists per minute they played. Where I do think Salah's got a chance to overtake him is, especially now he signed his new deal, is achievement. Because you're going to win the Premier League again this year. He's already won the Champions League. If in the next 2 years, if you could retain a Premier League, which Henry never did, and again, be integral in that, scores another 25 league goals next year, wins you 15 points, and you do a back-to-back. If he could win you another Champions League as well, that's when I would start to look at it and say, on ability, Henry's always going to come out on top and peak and everything else. But then if you start looking at consistency, Mo Salah would have done it for longer in the Premier League. His levels would have been world-class the majority of the time. The output is going to be on par with Henry, but he's done it for a longer period. So therefore, there's more consistency. And then there's more achievements. Then I think there's an argument. Where it's always going to be hard is for a lot of people, especially ex-pros, a lot of them vote for who the best is. A lot of it is often based. Well, again, I always
think they played against or played with.
Played with and against. They often go off ability. The problem is when they go off ability, when they start talking about what the person did, they suddenly start talking about trophies. And what I mean by that is Gerrard's a prime example. Liverpool fans go, you can't use trophies in a player debate. What is it that makes Gerrard the greatest? Did you see what he did that Champions League run? To win you a trophy? It's and we always do. Chelsea fans say, but you can't use trophies sometimes. Well, why is Drogba better than this player? You see how many finals he scored in? The finals that led to trophies. And so it's not the trophy in itself. It's your performances. And it's why, like, Paul Scholes gets slept on this. People need to go back, and they're on the internet. Go back and read the articles in the summer of 1999 after we won the treble, and look how many sort of reviews of the season. Look how many of them just put out. Look, Beckham got so much praise, and the Calypso football from Cole and York was getting praise. Stam, amazing. Keno, but Scholes was just the front and center of everything, and everybody wants to forget that. So look, as he surpassed him yet, viewers, give us your opinions on Mo Salah. Has he surpassed Henry? We want to hear from you in the comments section.
I'm going to get chewed up in the comments.
Look, you are going to get chewed up by Liverpool fans. They are coming for you, Cal. They're going to be outside your house. The ones that stopped Gerrard leaving are coming for you. Let's take a listen to this video. This is actually from the Football Terrace, but I want to get your opinion on Arsenal overachieving. Let's take a little listen.
The semi-final is an overachievement. I don't want anyone to tell me...
You think that's an overachievement?
This competition, falling against Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid, having the injuries that happened to them, losing Gabriel, having Bukayo Saka half fit, not having a striker. Everyone expected Mikel Arteta to be knocked out by Real Madrid and not even put in a good performance.
Yes, I agree. Like, at the end of the day, ask what don't you agree with? I mean, just
come on, LB.
LB, let me just break this down for you for a second. They were predicted by most. The consensus didn't think they'd make top 8. The consensus thought they were going to get knocked out by Real Madrid and not even lay a glove on them. If they finish the job and they get through to the semis, they've exceeded at every stage so far. Okay. If you exceed expectation, how have you not overachieved?
Okay, so hang on a minute. We're saying, that the team that's finished second in the Premier League 2 seasons in a row is overachieved by getting to the semi-final.
So did you expect them to reach the semi-final of the Champions League this season?
No matter what I expect or what. I'm not
no, but that's exactly what it is.
No, it's not. It's not.
That's the definition of overachieving.
So sound and Arsenal fans just don't even turn up for the semi-final because you
said
that?
No one said that.
No way am I having it that the team that's finished second in the Premier League is overachieved.
What do you make of that? I mean, the goalposts against Arsenal seem to always get moved. Big up LB from our Straight Facts podcast, so go and check that out. But it was Mo's claim, it wasn't mine before anybody cries, but saying that if they do get past Real Madrid tonight, it's that getting to the semis based on the general consensus opinion about what their Champions League campaign would look like. They've overachieved, and it's now being said, no, they're not, even though they were expected to go out to Real Madrid. How do you view this as an opinion?
I think I don't want to speak for LB because LB is a great content creator. I think LB's probably frustration has maybe come with some fans who overrate Arsenal. Because if I think all of you guys broke it down perfectly, especially Mo, like literally no one had them to beat Real Madrid. I think I was one of the only people who predicted them to beat Real Madrid in the first leg, and I predicted a 1-0 win. They smoked Real Madrid. It wasn't close. It was 3-0. It wasn't close. They did that, as he said, with Marino up front, half-fit Saka, no Gabriel. Remember when Gabriel went down injured, Arsenal fans said,
it's over.
Play Rice centre-back. Yeah. Kiwior can't play. So many different narratives. Pack the midfield with Jorginho, Partey, and Rice, and just don't give away anything. They went and smoked Real Madrid. They absolutely have overachieved in Champions League this season. Absolutely, by getting to semi-finals. And look, people say, like LB's point where he's like, well, second place. Okay, Man City then. If we're going to go based on them finishing second, Man City, who won their league, Barca and Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, who have got the heritage, these teams were all put above Arsenal to win. Inter Milan, that's 6 teams. 6 teams who you could categorically say at the beginning of the season were bigger favourites to win the Champions League than Arsenal. So if they've got further than most of those 6 teams and they're in the final 4, then they have to be overachievers in the Champions League this season. Now, do I hope they win it? God, no. If they win it, bro, summer's a shutdown. Let's be real. Man United, Liverpool fans, Chelsea fans, Tottenham fans, this summer is a shutdown. But I still have to give credit where credit's due. As of right now, they've overachieved in Champions League. I think they go through pretty comfortably against Real Madrid. I think they may lose the game on the night, but again, maybe by a goal. I don't think they'll ever be in jeopardy. And I think they'll make it to the final.
I do. Listen, I understand there's some Arsenal fans that are insufferable. I hope you're well, Gal. Hope you're doing good, brother. And
big up, Gal.
Gal is like the
every
king.
Fan base. It's every fan base.
And of course, every fan base has got them. Good, bad, and indifferent. There are Arsenal fans that are insufferable that praise the club, and there are Arsenal fans that are insufferable that hate on everything the club do. Because I'm not going to lie to you, there are some Arsenal fans, content creators, TikTokers, Twitter accounts. I truly believe in my heart of hearts they want to go out tonight.
Yeah.
Arteta failed. Yeah, and I think they're every bit as annoying as the ones that just everything's, no matter how good it is. And your fan base has a few of these.
Yeah.
Terry, how do you think Liverpool have done this year? Yeah, you've been one of the best teams in the world. One of the best teams in the world? Do you mean the best team in the world? It's like, oh, fuck off, mate. Like, I'll give you praise here. I get it from City fans all the time. You said Arsenal was scary 2.5 years ago. Nearly 3 years ago now. Actually, it was in July 2023. I said that.
I was on that show and I predicted Arsenal finish outside top 4, and a lot of people laughed at you that show.
Yeah, and all I said is that I think they're going to make the top 4, and by the end of the season, we'd see them as title contenders for the following season. So I wasn't even 100% right. They did it quicker than I thought. But it's like the City fan said to me, "All you do is big them up, saying they're scary." I said, bruv, in the last 3 years, I've said City have become one of the greatest teams in the history of football. We're the best team in the world for 3 years. I put KDB as one of the greatest midfielders in Premier League history. I'm saying Haaland may be the best finisher we've ever seen in Premier League history. I have Pep down on the greatest managers of all time. How can you not take those 5 bits of praise? How do you not see that as more praise than saying Arsenal scare me? It still does, as a grown man. Like, and it's like, no, but if I'd have said that City petrify me, that's better praise than saying you've become one of the greatest teams in the history of football. It's weird, man. But yeah, on the overachieving thing, I understand the game state can change. So Man United get predicted to come 6th. We're in 2nd place all season, end up finishing 3rd. And you say we overachieved based on pre-season expectations. But you might argue, actually, you were 2nd and in the title race and you fell off. So maybe you underachieved because actually you were a lot better than we thought. There was many games to go. Knockout football's a little bit different because the game state changes when the draws happen. And I think had Arsenal got PSV in the draw and then came up against, I don't know, Porto in the next round, maybe getting to the semis isn't an overachievement because they're better than those 2 teams. But it's about who you come up against in the draw. It's different from a league campaign. And when it was announced that we're going to get Ati or Real Madrid I think 90% of football fans, I think 90% of Arsenal fans just went, we're out then. So to beat them, and I think they lay a massive marker down tonight. We saw PSG 2 away games running, really and truly could have and should have gone out of the tournament if it wasn't for Donnarumma and, penalties. And I'm not taking anything away from PSG, but they were getting peppered. Go back to that first 20 minutes at Anfield. How you didn't score 2 or 3 goals is beyond me.
To defend PSG though, they should have absolutely wiped the floor.
No, that's true. That's true. They should have done. The point I'm making is if Arsenal can get through well tonight, so they might lose on the night, but if they can make it really hard for PSG's lightning and amazing attack, maybe score a goal or 2, I think it sends a message out to PSG that you're going to have to be as good as you were against Liverpool in both legs and be clinical. And I don't know. And Arsenal in the Champions League this season is so good defensively. Yeah. And you're going to have to keep your nerve when you play the Emirates. And interestingly, they play at the Emirates first if Arsenal get through. And I actually think that's the worst way around for PSG because their away form isn't as good as their home form. So Arsenal have the chance there. So, look, I can't say anything other than it is an overachievement based on everybody's predictions. And if you're going to say it isn't one, then you've got to admit that you actually thought they had a better chance of beating Real Madrid than you're admitting now. So you've either got to admit that you lied, right? Or you played it down, or that it is an overachievement to get where they are. I saw this comment about the Champions League as well. I want to see if you agree with this. I mean, one of our comments yesterday said, I'm glad Villa went out. Hopefully Arsenal don't win it either. Makes a farce of the competition. 2 clubs that haven't won their own domestic league for decades may as well do a raffle.
I mean, why does nothing like that get said about the FA Cup?
Very true. Very true.
Because if you win the FA Cup, shouldn't you be winning the Premier League based on that then? And then the argument will be, oh, you rotate more in the FA Cup. But we've seen it for years now. Like, if I'm not mistaken, when Real Madrid were winning those Champions Leagues, they weren't winning the league every single season. I didn't hear anyone say they're making a farce of it. Now, granted, Arsenal and Villa haven't won the league for a certain amount of time, but League and Champions League, one's a league and another one's a predominantly a knockout competition. They're not mutually exclusive. Like it's this whole, that to me sounds like it's always got to be certain teams who win it or else the competition's a farce. Like, nah, whoever wins it will deserve to win it. You can't win the Champions League and not deserve to win it. It's simple as Chelsea, when they won it, were terrible in the league. They deserve to win it.
Yeah, I mean, he has specified by saying haven't won the league for decades. But top 4 have got into the Champions League for decades. But the year City got to their first final in the 2020-21 season, they weren't even the champions of England.
They weren't. Liverpool were.
And I don't even know if they came second that year. I want to say they came.
No, yeah, they did. They did
come second. They did come second. Yeah, I think just ahead of Man United, actually. I think we came third that year. So they weren't even the champions the first time they got to a final. And ironically, they were up against Chelsea in the final that hadn't been champions for, again, 5 years, 6 years. And you look at it and just think to yourself, that when I see comments like that, it's just elitist bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Just elitist bullshit. It really, really is when I read things that. But
it's ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous.
I hear you.
Whoever wins it this season will just look. Are we going to sit here and go, if Arsenal win it after knocking out Real Madrid, knocking out PSG, and then playing potentially Barcelona in the final, if they win it, are we going to sit here and say they don't deserve to win it? When we won it in 2005, we knocked out Bayer Leverkusen, Juventus, Chelsea, and then beat AC Milan in the final. Is someone going to turn around and say, well, you know what, Cal, you didn't win the Premier League since 1990 at that time. You didn't deserve to win it. When we won it in 2019, we hadn't won it for 29 years.
Do you know what's really, really crazy about this thing as well is, did you see the one yesterday from Ian Ladyman saying that he said it was dirty, corrupt, and disgusting that the winner of the Europa League will get a Champions League spot next year? 10 years after that being the thing. And his reason was, well, I think teams like Bournemouth and Fulham deserve Champions League spots over Man United and potentially Man United or Tottenham. And it's like, well, but we qualified for that competition last year by being successful. You can't, like, if Man United, right, win it, I'm not saying we even will. If we win it, we were in the competition because we won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So therefore, we'd then be in the Champions League because we won the Europa League.
Exactly.
It's like you're saying it's dirty and corrupt to literally reward success.
It's crazy.
Mad.
And if that's the case, then if you win the FA Cup but you finish 5th or 6th, don't play in the Community Shield. Just make it 1 versus 2 in the league. Then, like,
mate, it's crazy.
Silly.
Speaking of Champions League stuff, I need to get your opinion on whether or not you think Real Madrid are rattled by Arsenal. Take a look at this. By the way, this has just come out. We started recording and this video hadn't been released. This has just come out from Real Madrid. It says 90-minute on their Twitter, TikTok. Let's go through this. Let's go through this here. And it says, hello. I think it says something like, hello, can you translate this into as many languages as possible?
Oh
and
my, this is perfect.
90 minutes at the Bernabeu are very long. It keeps in every language. They're rattled. They're rattled, aren't they? They are genuinely rattled.
That is pathetic. Do you know what this screams of? This screams of like when a fighter's being overly loud and aggressive at a press conference, and you know when he steps in there, it's just going to be a problem because they ain't got the minerals. Real Madrid were comprehensively beaten by Arsenal. Now, granted, we all know the Bernabeu is one of the most, it's probably the most heritage-rich stadiums in Champions League history. But this whole, I've seen so many things from Real Madrid over the last few days. Like, just play the game, aim to win, and leave it there. Like,
do you know what's funny about it? Standard FC.
This probably gives Arsenal more confidence.
Standard FC are in the mud though here, because they claim that clubs like Real Madrid do not do PR, do not do cheesy messages, do not do rallying calls to their fans. I love this is happening though. Do you know why? They might go through, but the fact there is this notion that Real Madrid can't be rattled by anybody, let alone Arsenal of all clubs. And they're talking about cracking out lucky jumpers. There's going to be a welcome in for the buses like you've never seen before. Like, why have they got to do all of this if it's little piddly, no one's scared of Arsenal? Why have they got to do all this? Why
weren't they doing this before?
Exactly. Where was the support when they needed you? Hang on a minute. And what it also is a mockery. Why are they not smashing the cars up and getting the white hankies out and whistling? I thought that is what made Real Madrid great. Yeah. Why is it actually now we've got to surround the minibus and throw bottles, got to crack out the lucky jumper? It's what it shows you this. It tells me that they went into that Arsenal game. I think they were believing the online talk. I think they believed the online talk. I think they allowed content creators, certain media outlets to get into their ears. They got battered. They got destroyed. They're rattled. And you know, when you said it right, when a fighter goes, he's 38, best shape of my life, I'm faster, quicker, stronger. That's the message they're giving off here.
Michael Chandler.
Exactly. And you can, I actually feel sorry for him. There's 2 years later for McGregor, his body just changed. His body has just changed. But whenever you hear a fighter talk, when you hear an older fighter say that, and look, with everything they've said, you can see their fear. You can see how petrified they are. It is obvious because they're talking so much. They're mouthy. They have got to, listen, they may shut me down. I may get clipped up. Fair play to them. They have got to come out tonight and put in maybe their greatest ever knockout Champions League performance. After all this talk, the memes, they are rattled. They are scared of Arsenal. Yeah. Who would have thought that in 2025, Real Madrid, led by Carlo Ancelotti, would be scared of Arsenal? It's a madness, bruv.
Scared of anyone, but yeah, me seeing that, it's done. It's done.
Oh, mate, it's crazy. It is absolutely. I'm tweeting it out while we're recording. Standard FC are in tears. Absolutely crazy. This will cheer everyone up, though. This is we've got to take a look at this video. This video is hilarious. It's from X and Rants. Love these guys on their show. Ooze, take a look at this.
Saudi, I just got back today. I was trying to sell the club, blood. I was trying to sell the club. I said to bro, I was with some rich sheikhs, blood. Sheikhs, whatever you want to call them. I was with them. Al Oozin, fam. You get me? I was trying to sell the club, blood. And you know what they said? You know what happened when I offered them Tottenham Hotspur? You know what they said? The Saudi lot, blood. Tottenham get battered every way they go. Tottenham get battered every way they go. Every way they go. 3, 2, 1, go. Tottenham get battered every way they go. Brother, in my face, blood. In my fucking face, blood. These men are an embarrassment, fam. They're an embarrassment, blood. I'm tired of this, blood. I swear down this life, I'll demonetize the whole thing right now.
You know, imagine you go all the way to Saudi and people are singing that to you, bro.
It happened at the wrestling. I didn't realize someone sent me a clip. It happened at the wrestling event recently in WWE. They came to London and everyone in the building was
what do you think of Tottenham? Yeah, mate.
Oh, that's crazy. It's not even football related.
Do you know what it is? Right, my club's in the mud. We're awful. We're terrible. I know that. I think we'll turn it around at some. I don't think we're going to stay down here. Spurs, though, because they don't have the history, the heritage, the trophy cabinet, anything like us. It's just they are the punching boys, right? The punching bag of the Premier League, as you say. X is on holiday in Saudi. He's got sheikhs coming up to him and singing him that song.
It's a
By
killer.
The way, the accent's great as well. The accent was great. The accent was great. Sorry,
I don't know how Tottenham fans do it. I really don't. Like, I know obviously, you know, people label us as Liverpool and Man United fans as glory hunters, but bloody hell, being a Tottenham fan's tough, man.
It certainly, the ones I don't understand, right? We have young Daniel, hasn't been on for a while. He's been very busy with his studies, but he's like 15, 16 years old now. And I just think, why did you pick Tottenham? Especially for American, Australian, Nigerian, Brazilian. You can pick who you want.
Yeah, like,
why would you ever pick? I don't understand it. I get my dad's a Spurs fan. I picked it. I'm from Tottenham, from Middlesex, but certain parts of Essex, I kind of get it, right? And I know some people hate glory hunters. That's fair. But at least when you pick a team that's winning or plays, because not everyone picks a team that's winning. Like a lot of people picked Arsenal when they stopped winning league titles, and a lot of it was the beautiful football that Wenger had them play, right? There's a lot of that. Man United had a supporters club in the 50s that had over 50,000 people that were part of it. And it was all because the way Sir Matt Busby had us playing football was so different from anything else. So we know that happens historically in football. People go, wow. But I just don't. The Tottenham thing is tough, man. They don't even have the memories to keep them warm at night. Yeah, I have that at least. In fact, I did win an FA Cup last year.
Yeah, I'm going to say,
like, we're shit, but it's like
still picking up trophies.
Exactly. It's just the pain they feel. And at the same time, they get charged more per game than Real Madrid. As fans to go watch. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy, bruv. It is crazy. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all very, very much as ever for tuning in. Please make sure you hit the like button. Very, very important to us that you get that button smashed. Make sure that you have subscribed and got the bell notification button turned on as well. And go and check out Callum's channel, Coppish TV, best Liverpool platform there is. And don't cry, I said that, Dom Hassan. Yours is a neutral platform. There's the Liverpool platform. So make sure you're out there and subscribing to that. Just search Coppish TV and go and follow my guys over there. Cal, always a pleasure to sit and speak football.
Bro.
Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.